My name is Eugene Harrison. I'm a 35-year-old office worker. I work in IT, but I'm essentially a gopher. I was hired by this company about 6 months ago. It's a company mainly engaged in system development, and I take on various chores, such as making copies, to help other employees carry out their work smoothly. You could say my days are busy and fulfilling. However, since my early days at the company, I've been branded as an engineer who isn't much use. Thanks to this, there's no one in my department who has the time to chat with me outside of work. I've gotten used to eating my lunch alone on the rooftop during my break. Then, a change came to my daily life. In April, there was a personnel change, and the boss who had been overseeing the department was transferred. The new boss, it seemed, wasn't an engineer. Apparently, she was chosen to oversee the department because of her high ability to manage employees. I remember the boss who was transferred murmuring about how our engineers often work overtime and how the overtime pay has become a problem. It's probably a personnel change to thoroughly address that issue. The new boss is a stunning beauty, and the men in the department were all abuzz when she made her inaugural address. I'd heard the rumors that she was beautiful, but she was even more gorgeous than the rumors suggested. I was smitten at first sight. Her name is Jennifer Parker. She's 5 years younger than me. She looks mature and competent. Not at all what you'd expect from someone younger than you. Like the other male employees, I quickly became a fan of Jennifer. However, she was not particularly kind to me. She saw me as an employee who can't do his job. I quickly realized that. She's been closely observing the behavior of the employees in order to understand the state of the department. About a week later, she began to distribute tasks among the employees. It was astonishingly perfect. After a month, both overtime and errors dropped significantly. Even right before the project deadline, the employees' morale was high. The employees' frustrations dramatically reduced after Jennifer was transferred. I was really grateful, as it felt like I was the one who had to bear the brunt of the frustrations at work every day. Jennifer's arrival coincided with the project deadline, so the welcoming party was postponed, and it was only held about a month and a half later. By that time, Jennifer had already integrated herself into the department, and the drinking party was casual and lively, like a no-holds-barred kind of atmosphere. Since it was right after the project deadline, everyone's spirits were high. I've never really been a fan of alcohol, and I don't drink at social gatherings. I'd sit there drinking my soft drink, watching everyone get progressively drunker. Not many people struck up a conversation with me at the gathering. The new recruits like Sally and her group would talk to me, but I reckon that'll change by the time winter rolls around. Just as I was engaging in travel discussions with the younger ones, Jennifer joined the conversation. She appeared to have been coerced into drinking quite a bit, and she was thoroughly inebriated, to put it mildly. Her eyes were half closed, a far cry from her usually sharp and focused demeanor. "You've had too much to drink, Jennifer," I pointed out, steadying her as she struggled to sit upright. The new recruits looked worried too. "I'm not drunk. You're all just making fun of me." She giggled while denying it. This wasn't good. She was clearly intoxicated. "Stop talking only to the younger ones, Eugene. Talk to me too, or don't you want to mingle with a younger female boss?" she said, leaning in closer to me, clearly fueled by the alcohol. I wanted to create some distance, but I had the feeling that if I did, she might tumble out of her chair. The new recruits, likely scared of being caught up in this situation with a boss, made a hasty retreat, leaving Ms. Jennifer and me alone at a corner table. "Come on, Jennifer, sit straight," I said, trying to push her upright by the shoulder, but she was swaying and struggling to find her balance. "Can't you lend me your shoulder? It's not like it's going to decrease," she slurred, hardly forming her words properly. Acting like a child, she was swinging her legs, and one of her high heels went flying under the table. Jennifer was surprised to find his shoes missing and stuck her face under the desk. The next moment, she started laughing uproariously. "You always put on such a serious face, Eugene, but I can tell you're really good at your job. You think you've got me fooled, but you're just underestimating me," she said, puffing out her cheeks. This caught me off guard. As far as I knew, only the CEO was aware of my background, and it seemed unlikely that Jennifer would have been informed. Did she notice something from the way I usually act? "You're underestimating me," she yelled, playfully punching me with a weak cat punch. "I have two things I don't like: alcohol and drunks." This was getting out of hand. "Could someone give me a hand with Jennifer, please?" I called out to the bustling tables around us, and a colleague came over to help the drunk Jennifer. Even as she was being led away, she didn't let go of my arm. Jennifer's colleague, Jane, who joined the company at the same time as her, informed me that she had asked Jennifer's sister to pick her up. A taxi was on its way. Despite her low alcohol tolerance, she loves her booze, Jane chuckled, sharing some inside information. By this point, Jennifer had started dozing off, still clinging to my arm. "You've become her favorite," Jane laughed as she observed this. Jennifer's pickup arrived about 15 minutes later. "I apologize for the trouble my sister has caused," a woman who looked strikingly like Jennifer said when she arrived. But her vibe was completely different. She clearly didn't seem like a corporate worker. "Excuse me, I'm Kate, Jennifer's sister. I'm sorry for any trouble she's caused." Her sister deeply apologized to me, making me feel somewhat embarrassed. She had a cab waiting outside the bar, so I helped Jennifer to the cab. During this time, I noticed that Kate kept glancing at me. Is there something on my face?" I asked while checking my face with my hand. Kate shook her head and said, "No. Are you a systems engineer?" I was asked by Kate, and I explained my job to her. I admitted that I was a systems engineer, but mostly worked on various tasks. At this, Kate tilted her head curiously. Her gesture seemed youthful, and I found it adorable. At the same time, something in my memory was nagging at me. I recalled feeling the same uneasy sensation when I first met Jennifer. The inexplicable unease continued even after they got in the cab and left. The next day, as soon as I got to work, Jennifer grabbed my arm and said, "I'm really sorry. I heard I was really bothering you yesterday." She kept apologizing, making me feel bad. "Well, it's not a big deal, you were drunk." I tried to brush it off as a joke. Apparently, she had been scolded by Kate when they got home and was told to apologize to me. "I'm really sorry," she said with a deeply remorseful face. "Don't worry about it. It was just a company drinking party. I didn't mind at all." On hearing this, Jennifer seemed relieved and smiled. Her smile made my heart flutter in a different way from the night before. But I decided to keep this feeling to myself. About a month and a half had passed since the drinking party. I was still busy doing odds and ends, but I felt fulfilled. During lunch break, as usual, I headed to the rooftop. There was a small chapel on the rooftop of our building. I always have my lunch there, offering a prayer daily. Usually, my favorite spot is empty, but today there was already someone there. It was a new employee, Sally. She was highly regarded in our department for being a quick learner among the new hires. She was crying with a trembling voice. I thought about ignoring it and leaving, but reconsidered. I called out to her, trying not to startle her.